Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Robert, and in this video we will be creating this calculator application in JavaScript very quickly. So this does all the basic functionalities that the calculator will do, and this is very easy to build. If you're new here, help me smash that like button and subscribe. I would appreciate that a lot. Alright, without wasting much time, let us get started. So I already have my JavaScript, HTML, and CSS files already set up. They are also properly linked. So this is linking the style sheet. This is linking the JavaScript file. I'll change the name to calculator. I want that to display as the title. And you can see that change right here. Okay. So let us begin. I'll first start by creating the calculator body. So I'll put that in a section. And I want the section to have an ID of calculator. Next thing is the body of the calculator itself. I'll put that in a div. And the very first element is this input box. Let's do that. So we have an input with the type of test, and its ID will be named display. Okay, so if we save this, that's the input box. Next thing, we have the buttons, and they are in rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 rows. So let's create them and divide them respectively. I'll create the first row and copy and paste the same example for the rest. So I have a div with a class of row, just like this, and then the buttons. So 4 buttons. I'll do bit button times 4. We have 7 for the first one, 7, 8, 9, and then the division sign. 8, 9, followed by the division sign. And the way we type this is we will write the ampersand like this, followed by its code, which is 247. So a pound or hash, and then we add a 247. Now let me format this nicely. And I'll add my semicolon. And if I save this, this is what I have. Let me quickly do 4 more rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now the numbers. 4, 5, 6, X. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Then minus 0 dot equals, and the addition operator. Finally, we have declare everything. So that's C. And let's get rid of the other 3 buttons. Okay. So if I save this, this is what I have now. Awesome. So that's the complete HTML calculator body. Let's quickly style this before making it work with JavaScript. Let me fix this typo first. Awesome. Okay, so in the CSS, I'll first target everything, and I'll set the box size into border box. Next, I'll target the body, give it a BG color, and I used F2 for this. Change it to flex, I'll justify the content to the center, and I'll also align items to the center. And I'll finally give it a height of 100 VH. So this will center everything for us nicely. Awesome. Now the body of the calculator, which will give it an ID of calculator. So let's do that. We have that targeted. I'll give it a width of 220 pixels. Set the background color to white or FFF. Make it a little rounded by adding a border radius of about 8 pixels. A little box shadow. So 0 to pixels, 6 pixels. RGBA. 0 for green, 0, 0, and then 0.1 as the alpha. Alright, so we save it. That's the changes I just made. Now the buttons. So I'll target every button. And each button should occupy 100% width. A little padding and margin. So 10 pixels for the padding. And the margin is 5 pixels top and bottom. Left, right, 2 pixels. The font size should be 16 pixels. No borders, so border should be none. Make those a little rounded. We'll have the cursor to be a pointer. Awesome. So this is what we have. Let's align the rows nicely. So I'll target the row, and I'll just set the display to flex. Neat. Let's finally work on the input. So target the input, which has a type. Actually, I gave it an ID of display, so let's rather use that. So display, and the width should be 100%. A little margin from the bottom. Some padding, about 10 pixels. The font size should be 20 pixels. Just align to the right. Make it a little rounded, so border radius about 4 pixels. Finally, some box shadow. So I'll choose 0, 1 pixels, 3 pixels, then add an RGBA value. So the same as this. I save this. This is what I get. Almost there. Let's give the calculator a little padding and margin. So 20 pixels should be okay, and the margin 20 pixels auto. Neat. So we are done with the rough styling. Let's start working on the functionality now. Okay, so in the JavaScript file, you first target the input or the display. This is where the results will be displayed. So let's target that. So I'll say const display, and then I'll select that document dot query selector, and we gave it an ID of display, so we choose that. So display. we now have the display targeted. So let's write a function to make it so that whenever a button is clicked, we will have the value of that button showing up in the display. So what I will do is take the current value and add it to the existing one. Okay, so let's type that function now, function, and I'll name this add display. So this will take a value. That will be the argument. So we have the display now. So we say display whatever is in the value, to add it to what will be clicked on next. So this value that is being received. Okay, nice. Now before this function will work, we'll have to call it. I'll do that in the HTML, which I think is easier to understand by using the onClick attribute. So I'll try it on the 7 first. So I'll add the onClick attribute, this one right here, and this will accept that function, which is add display. So add display. So this is accepting a value. So the value in this case will be 7. Okay, so now I'll save this and try it out. So if I click on 7, you can see the 7 being displayed. This is working nicely. So let us repeat this for the rest of the buttons. So I'll copy this and then paste it here. Now I'll just change the value, 8, 9. This will be the divide. And this should be the asterisk for multiplication. Awesome. So I'm done with my changes. I've saved this. Now I'll try out the buttons. Okay, so everything seems to be working. All that is left now is to write a function to calculate whatever that we have in the display by using the eval function. What this function does is take an expression and then perform the calculations and returns the result. So for instance, if I have, let me open up console tools. So if I have eval and then I type 5 times 5 and save this, you can see it's returning 25. Okay, so now back in the JavaScript file, let's type the function and I'll name this calculate. So what this will calculate, we use the eval, and the result will be whatever is in the input. So the display dot value, whatever is in the display, its value. Okay, and now we'll set that equal to a variable called result. So we will let result equal the answer being returned. Okay, good. And now it needs to be displayed. So display dot value will be equal to the answer that we get. Awesome. Before we test out this newly created function, Let's quickly create the function to clear everything in the display. This C. So I'll create another function and I'll name this clear display. And what this will do is it will take the value and then set it equal to nothing. That's it. Now let's add it to the button so that when we click that, it can call that function. So where is this? This one right here. It's not add display, it's clear display this time. So clear display. And remember, we also need to call the calculate on the equals button. So let's also call this here calculate. All right, good. Let's save this and finally test out our application. So first, I want to clear everything inside of this. Good, that's working. So now let's try a calculation. So 2 plus 2 should give us 4. Perfect, it's working nicely. Okay, let's clear that. 36 times 63, we have 2268. Awesome. 5 divided by 3, we have 21 point blah 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 blah. Yeah, awesome. So that's our calculator application completed in less than 16 minutes. Of course, it doesn't have any code or function to check for errors. Like for instance, if I just type dot and then click on equals, I'll have errors displaying all over. But it still does the basic functionality expected of a calculator. Alright, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Peace out.